So our mission statement is changing the healthcare of our world. It was changing the healthcare of our community until a couple of years ago, and I'm like, why here? Why not here? I wanna restore the communication, get your body functioning the way God created it to function.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Healing Hands Chiropractic podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dawkins, and I'm here with the legend, Dr. Tracy Rush. Dr. Tracy, how you feeling this morning?
I feel great. The sun is out. Yay!
Yeah. So before we get into what I'm really excited to talk about today, I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to celebrate something. So thank you for the advice that you gave on the last episode to new patients. You said, look, if you want to be a phenomenal patient and get the best results, one of the things you got to do is you got to drink lots of water. You said people think they're drinking enough water and they're not. And so I have, since that last podcast, Dr. Tracy, I've had a gallon of water every day, which may still not be enough, as I've still found myself in different moments of the day feeling parched, feeling like I needed more. But that's more water than I've had in my whole life. So thank you, Dr. Tracy, for that. I'll say thank you. And I want to celebrate. Guys, we've released one podcast episode. And I checked the analytics this morning, and we've had almost 8,000 organic views on that. And so that's between the whole podcast, and of course, we're cutting it up a little bit and sharing it in shorts. Dr. Tracy, the number one short that we put out on YouTube was the one, if you had to have one meal for the rest of your life. And what I love is in your response, you were like, this may be boring, but that's the 4,400 views on that one short that people wanted to. There are a ton of comments on there. And so, guys, if you're watching this podcast, we love engagement. We love when you comment. We love when you share the podcast. It means a lot to us. And we're excited about the future of the Healing Hands Chiropractic podcast. So, Dr. Tracy, just want to share those stats with you.
My boring fish.
Boring fish.
And I've had comments from patients like, oh, you're a tea drinker. I know we're going to delve into that today. And, oh, you're not a coffee drinker. No, I'm not a coffee drinker.
That one still baffles me, but I'm going to let it go for at least 3 questions here. So, Dr. Tracy, I got 15 more questions for you. You ready to dive in?
I am ready.
All right, we're going to start talking about you, and we've hit a little bit on this on the last episode, but I want to invite you to just dive into talking us through your daily routines, your habits that contribute to your overall health and wellness, because when we think about you're not just giving great advice to other people, and you're not just helping other people get healthy. You walk this out, you live this out, you're an incredibly disciplined person. You couldn't not be and be at the level that you're at. So walk us through daily habits and routines.
And I definitely have daily habits. And if I'm out of my routine, if I don't do the things my body feels like it needs to do, I'm out of sorts. So obviously wake up, get to the bathroom, listen to my Bible on my phone. So going through the New Testament within the year. I have my water, my lukewarm or a little bit warm water, 12 ounces, with 2 drops of lemon oil in my water. And I drink that with my supplements as I'm getting ready. Then I'm doing a little bit of exercises. Like I said, the brain exercises. So marching in place. I have an app called Holloway Brain Health. And it goes through 2 different exercises. You do them for 2 minutes and then get my brain awake. And then I sit down and I do my quiet time. I read 3 devotionals. I talk to God. I just listen and sit there and I listen.
Wow. So
that's... I get ready for work and walk out the door.
I think a lot of people, I don't know if you know who Michael Hyatt is, but in my circles, he was coined as the father of productivity. And so he talked about the importance of a startup routine, which you just walked us through. But he also has, if I recall correctly, he has sort of a shutdown routine as well. So like a closing out the day. So you just got the day started. What would you say are some of the most important things you do at the end of the day to kind of shut the day down, maybe even to get ready for the next day? What does that look like for you?
I'm not so good on this one. Life gets in the way on this one. I try to be good on this one. I have to unwind before I go to bed. My brain is always going. I'm always going, always going, always going. And so I like to watch just mindless half-hour TV shows. Right now I'm into the show called Ghosts. And people go, really? You? Ghost? But it just makes me laugh. It gets me out of my brain. And I will read. I will write. Actually, my quiet time at night, I write in a journal. I do a gratitude journal. So I write down 3-4 things that I'm grateful for during the day.
I love that. I really appreciate you being willing to share that you will watch a show to unwind. I guess I think that that's something that I'm curious if anybody else is watching this right now, if you have a show that you're watching right now to kind of turn your brain off at the end of the day, I could definitely relate with that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing all that. I want to jump right into the next thing, and that's how you met your husband. So share with us the story of how you met your husband. Was it love at first sight, or was there a memorable moment that brought you two together?
Ooh, so we went to Bloomsburg University in central Pennsylvania. Dr. Chris is a year older than I am, so he was already there. We were in the band together. So Dr. Chris played tuba, and in marching band, I was a flag twirler. So, and then in concert band, I play flute, and I actually still play flute to this day. But we would, as he said, we were in the same sorority together. So it was a co-ed honor sorority for the band. So we were in the same sorority together. And there would be the left side of the field and the right side of the field. And we would have maneuvers with marching band. And the right side of the field always had issues. And Dr. Chris and I were on the left side of the field. Well, I was a flag twirler, so I was in the front. So guess what he saw all the time on me? My behind. So we would just sit there and we would talk, and we became friends, and we were in the sorority together. He graduated, and then we ended up together. But was it love at first sight? No, we were friends first. I would go to where he lived. We would play video games. Dr. Chris was a partier. He liked to host parties. And so I would be at his place, and we would play video games. We would just party together, a whole group of us, not just the two of us. But then the first date
Yes.
was, again, band. We would all go to dinner together. So we'd have band practice, and we'd all go to dinner together. And I noticed that he wasn't with us. And I saw him outside. I said, are you coming to dinner to the Commons, to the food place? And he said, no, I got to get a battery. Or, yeah, I have to get a battery for my car. He said, do you want to go with me to the mall? And that was our first date. So
What?
we went to Arby's.
Yes.
Yay.
That's amazing. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm just, do you still go to Arby's?
Oh, gosh, no. Oh, my gosh, no. No.
Oh, right. Well, that's rich. All right, Dr. Tracy, we heard you're not a coffee drinker. What brought you to that decision, and how in the world do you stay energized throughout the day without coffee?
I don't like the smell of coffee. I definitely don't like the taste of coffee. My parents were tea drinkers, so I think it really is a lot of influence from your growing up. And so my parents were tea drinkers. My mom had a cup of tea. My dad had a cup of tea every morning, Lipton tea. Now, I don't like Lipton tea. I like flavored tea. My favorite tea is chai, but I don't do a whole lot of caffeine. I get my energy from supplements. Like, that's my water and supplements is what keeps my energy going. And essential oils, breathing them in.
All right, in your experience, what's the biggest frustration you've encountered within the health and wellness industry?
Oh, yeah, this was one of the tougher questions when I looked over this. There's so much. I mean, Non-chiropractic, it's all about symptoms. It's all about let's take whatever you have, cover it over, and not get to the root cause. And how doctors, and I'm not saying all doctors, but how the medical community is, they're so overwhelmed and they don't see you as a person. They don't see you as as a person. Every condition's different. And I'm going to say, for example, you may have high blood pressure, but your high blood pressure is going to be different than someone else's high blood pressure. But nope, we got to put you on this drug. We got to put you on this. So that's one of the biggest frustration, that they don't listen. They don't hear you for who you are.
That's really, I appreciate that, how you said that. I think I saw it recently, where they talked about a lot of the medical community wants to treat the problem in the person. And I see, chiropractors, and my chiropractor would agree with this. They'd actually rather take care of the person with the problem. And it's a different way of looking at it, as opposed to the symptoms, looking at the whole person. And, your track record precedes you, your reputation precedes you. And I appreciate that. You feel like, that has shaped your mission or your vision? And let's just get into that next question there. What would you say is the mission or guiding principle behind Healing Hands Chiropractic, and how does it drive your practice every day?
So our mission statement is changing the healthcare of our world. It was changing the healthcare of our community until a couple of years ago, and I'm like, why here? Why not here? And I do mission trips, so that's changing the healthcare of the world. And with that, our philosophy is, like you said, I wanna restore the communication, get your body functioning the way God created it to function. DJ had a quote: "The power that made the body heals the body," and we live by that. We believe that God brings that power down. He works through us, but everyone has that ability to heal.
Absolutely. And you have shared on the last episode. If you guys haven't seen the last episode, make sure you go back and watch it. You told your personal story of how chiropractic changed your life, and how, in particular, a chiropractor, really through how he taught you things that maybe he shouldn't have taught you yet, and as well as how you saw physical change in your body, how that really shined a light on you becoming a chiropractor. And so we're gonna shift gears here. We're gonna dive into the world of chiropractic. I think that for a lot of our listeners, this is the meat of the conversation. This is our opportunity to learn more about the principle of chiropractic, because it's not just for chiropractors, it's for the world. And we want to make sure we're doing a good job of educating and doing it in an inspiring way. So, Dr. Tracy, how do you communicate the value of regular chiropractic adjustments to someone who isn't experiencing chronic pain or discomfort? What do you say to them?
So I have patients, we've been in practice 22 years, and I have patients that have been with me for 22 years. They're no longer in pain. And I do ask them, I say, why do you continue? And their big thing is they don't want to ever feel like the way they felt. And they know that their quality of life is better being under chiropractic care. So we are huge on education. Every week we have a different topic. We have a whiteboard in our adjusting rooms and talk about just chiropractic, but other health things. Like this month, it's sleep and stress, and how many hours of sleep should we get, and that kind of thing. But it's a lot of education, and the people that get it, I love it. I love it when the people get it. It makes me so happy when they get the chiropractic message of it's about life. It's just about life.
Mm. That's so good. I think for a lot of our listeners, they very well may be patients at your practice. And I would say if you're a patient at Healing Hands Chiropractic, make sure you comment and give Dr. Tracy a shout out in the comments below. But I'm thinking about a lot of folks that aren't as familiar with chiropractic. Let's get practical for a second. They're used to showing up to the doctor's office, waiting, and listen, we've been to an urgent care or a primary care physician, and we've waited in the lobby for 45 minutes to an hour, only to show up to the front desk and realize they can't help us, or have to wait another 45 minutes to an hour inside of the. And I'm not trying to set you up so much for what you have to say here, but I am thinking about what is a typical visit like at Healing Hands Chiropractic when someone shows up? What's the ideal duration for a patient's visit at Healing Hands Chiropractic? Making sure that they get the quality care without feeling rushed. What's that look like?
And you said rushed, and that's my last name, rushed. Rushed.
Still rushed, but a different kind of rush, right?
Exactly. I just have to give a funny story. So when a lot of chiropractors name their practices after their last name, and we weren't going to be called Rush Chiropractic.
Yeah.
So experience
Yeah.
is beyond the initial visit, beyond going over their x-rays and their regular treatment. They're waiting 3 to 5 minutes, maybe, depending on if I'm running on time. Yesterday was not a good day. But so at the most, I'm going to say at the most 20 minutes if I'm really trying to catch up. Get into the room. I have an assistant who talks to the patient, brings the patient down onto our adjusting table. I come in, talk to the patient, start adjusting. So that process, the adjusting process, is about 5-6 minutes, if that. And then we have a resting room. A patient will lay down there using towels under the neck, towels under the lower back. We have traction as well. So they're in our office, I'm going to say at the most, typically a half hour, 20 minutes to a half hour. That's their experience. Our reception, our front desk staff, warm and friendly. We always get that. They're bright, they're happy. People will say, you've got the best staff ever.
Amazing. So you're waiting 3 to 5 minutes, and you're being served 25 to 27 minutes of the half hour that you're going to be there. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. So if there's one thing you wish everyone understood about chiropractic care, what would it be?
That we restore life. We restore life. Yeah, we restore life. We give people their lives back, but we restore life by getting rid of the interference.
Yeah, I think you can attest to this, that likely a lot of folks that come into the practice who've never experienced chiropractic, or at least the way that you serve, they boil it down. Chiropractic is just crack my back, fix my pain, right? And what you're saying is it does so much more. And I appreciate that. I think that I didn't grow up with chiropractic. And so I had to unlearn a lot of things when I went under care. And my wife did. So my wife was the arm twister getting us into the practice and actually getting us under care. But I appreciate that. Looking ahead, where do you see the field of chiropractic headed in the next 20 years? And what advancements or changes do you anticipate?
So this was sad because I'm involved with a management group that I've been involved for 22 years, and how chiropractic has changed, how the medical community has changed. Everyone wants a quick fix, and that's not what it's about. And the chiropractic profession, a lot of it is moving towards that medical model, moving towards that, and that makes me sad. So we support the philosophy, the original philosophy. So we support colleges and institutions that promote the true chiropractic that's out there, not the pain model, but the true chiropractic. But we need leaders. We need people rising up, and I see that. I see that with our alma mater, and it's Sherman College. You know Sherman College because it's in your backyard.
Yeah.
So it's in South Carolina, Sherman College of Chiropractic. So shout out to them. But they're raising up leaders to be spokespeople for the true chiropractic. Other organization, the Christ-centered chiropractic, doing the same thing, talking about chiropractic, not, all right, the pain model, get them out of pain, 6 visits, they're out of the office, stuff like that. That's not chiropractic. But if we don't have those leaders, then I don't know where our profession is going. It's sad.
Well, you look at history and trends, and what we do typically see is a reset every 30, 40 years. There seems to be a reset. And I heard recently, it was actually a pastor he's out of Oklahoma. He said that the new way is actually the old way. And in a lot of ways, I think we're seeing some things that used to be done that haven't been done in the last 30, 40 years coming back. And I love one of our mentors, Dr. Ben Lerner, was sharing a story of chiropractic. I mean, it was 8 or 9 minutes of several docs in the room sharing stories of miracles. And he talked about some incredible things that if the world heard these things that happened because of the principle of chiropractic and because chiropractors being willing to stay true to chiropractic, we'd all want to go back to the old way. There is a sense, I think, in the medical community, a sense of progress within chiropractic to move it more towards the medical model. But I think what you and I would agree on is that the principle of chiropractic, there's not much that should change in the next 20 years to what we know to be true about the principle of chiropractic. So I think we will see change, and a lot of it will be in the way that we serve and care and the way that we're able to be more efficient in the technology side of, the scheduling appointments. And AI is a real thing, Dr. Tracy. It's making a lot of things a lot easier. So we'd be fools not to embrace that, but to get away from the idea of hands-on or the technique that works with chiropractic. I hope not much changes there. So it's time, Dr. Tracy.
I agree. A resurgence.
So I those are my questions. And no, I have one more. And so we talked about a little bit about this last week, but I get a chance to reiterate. There's nothing more important for a new patient to do, Dr. Tracy, than to show up, because you can't take care of them if they don't show up, right? So there's regular adjustments. They're showing up. They're getting regular adjustments. And this is hard, but if you could just recommend one thing in addition to regular chiropractic adjustments for your new patients, what would you tell them? You get one thing.
Oh, wow. What happened to my dark? Okay. Like, what happened?
The lights went off.
Yeah. What one thing besides staying for their adjustments? Positive attitude that they're gonna get well.
How do you do that? How do you, as a patient, have a positive attitude that you're going to get well?
We give stories of hope. We have success stories throughout our office, and we give stories of hope. And our talks talk about that, just giving them hope that people have been in the same situation, and they will. They'll see it. So the hope, the positive attitude. Yeah.
You're doing a lot to encourage positive attitudes with the amount of content that you're creating for your patients, even with this podcast. And so if you're a new patient, you're watching this podcast, just stay tuned. Keep watching these episodes as they come out, consume them again and again and again, because there's education, there's entertainment, and there's also inspiration. We want that for every patient at Healing Hands Chiropractic. So, but Dr. Tracy, I think we've got 5 more questions, and these are the hot seat questions. So quick questions, quick answers, and we're going to leave people with, like I said, a little bit of entertainment. So what are we talking about? Dating, marriage, relationships, kids. That's what all these hot seat questions are about. So I'm ready. Dr. Tracy, are you ready?
I'm ready.
She's ready. All right. Question number 1. What's the most unexpected or quirky thing about your relationship with your husband?
I asked him this last night, and we, quirky, he's like, quirky, or unexpected was more the, how we met, and then getting into chiropractic together. And then unexpected is how we've grown together as a couple. We really, one goes this way, one goes this way, one goes this way, and how where we are right now, and how we just enjoy each other. We enjoy each other.
That's rare. That's rare. Just enjoying. We used to, I was a pastor. Most of my adult life I've been a pastor, and we talk to new couples, and we talk about the difference in loving and cherishing. A lot of vows say to love and to cherish. Why do we say both? Because they're not the same thing. It's like saying to love and to like. It really is like to love and enjoy. Loving is the commitment, and the enjoying is putting yourself in a position where you really enjoy each other. So I'm glad to hear that. Question number 2. These are hot seat questions. We got to move faster. Question number 2. Share with us a memorable date you had with your husband that still brings a smile to your face.
So that was not Arby's, but when we were dating, he had already graduated, and I said, I'm looking for that knight in shining armor coming in on the white horse. Well, my husband sold his car, bought a white LeBaron convertible, and bought me a black dress, roses, came and visited me at college in this white car, and I didn't know he had bought it, and handed me the dress and the flowers, and he says, I want to go on a date with you.
Wow. Where'd you go?
I don't remember where we went to dinner. I don't remember that.
Tell me it was a little better than Arby's.
Much better than Arby's, yes.
All right. What's one piece of advice you'd give to couples navigating the ups and downs of marriage?
Forgive each other quickly. Forgive each other quickly.
I got to amen that. Amen. All right. If you could go back in time and give your younger self one relationship tip, what would it be?
Oh, this was a tough one. One relationship tip. You don't always have to be right.
Really? You don't? That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. All right. How do you not be right? What's the alternative?
Well, asking for forgiveness. I'm not going to say compromise. Well, it's kind of compromise, but it's more coming to mutual agreement. We joke, like, I'm always right. Well, I never make a mistake. Well, I make mistakes.
Somebody said you can be right or you can be happy, right? Sometimes you got to choose between the two. That's a hard thing. I think that the idea of humility gets harder and harder the longer you've been in a relationship. Because I know what you said, but I know what you meant is where you get when you're 10, 15, 20 years in, right? It's so hard to be right. All right, last question. As a parent, no, I have 2 more questions. If you could go back in time, we just asked that one. I swear, I'm going to figure this out, Dr. Tracy. Last question. As a parent, what's the funniest and most embarrassing moment you've had with your kids that you can laugh about now?
So it's really a theme. We have this theme as a family that significant things happen in the rain for us, and memorable and laughing. So we've been in a corn maze in Pennsylvania as a family, and it started pouring. I mean, pouring. And I'm like, we're gonna make it through this corn maze. We're gonna do it. And we had the flag. We didn't have an umbrella. We were soaked. I mean, soaked. But I'm like, we're gonna make it through. And the water is just rolling over our shoes. And my kids are miserable. And so we ended up having to go to Goodwill to get clothes after that. But we remember those things that are in the rain. My son got married 3 years ago, and it was in the rain. Like, it rained that day. It was a nor'easter. So significant things that happen in our family are in the rain.
That's fascinating. We, when I look at the Bible, I see rain. Rain means blessing. So it's just a blessing on those significant moments.
That's awesome. I love that. Oh, wait till I tell them that one.
All right. Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions. We definitely want this to be a conversation. So for those that are watching right now, we're going to leave you with a question. And we're going to go with, what piece of relationship advice would you give someone who just got married? That's what we want to leave you with. And so we're going to be looking for those responses in the comments below. But thank you for joining us for another episode of the Healing Hands Chiropractic Podcast. We're having fun. We hope you're having fun learning, being educated and inspired. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you.